The forest groaned as an unnatural gust tore through its branches, flinging leaves into the moonlit air. Elara pressed her hand against an ancient oak, her breath sharp, her heart echoing louder than the wind. The hidden door in the roots cracked open, releasing a whisper that clawed at her ears. Alaric said, "The curse stirs again, and its hunger grows stronger." Rowan stepped back, his voice trembling as he said, "We should not be here. This place is wrong." A distant bell tolled, deep and hollow, shaking the ground beneath their feet. Elara whispered, "I can feel it calling me, pulling me into the dark." The shadows twisted like living things, creeping toward them with silent menace. Alaric's face hardened as he said, "It begins tonight, and you must choose whether to run or face what lies beneath." Elara gasped as a burning mark spread across her wrist, glowing like molten silver under the moon. Rowan said, "It's the curse, isn't it? It's waking." Alaric's gaze darkened as he replied, "The mark does not lie. The forest itself bends to its will." The air thickened with unseen weight, pressing down on their lungs. The bell tolled again, echoing from somewhere deep underground, each strike slower but heavier. Elara whispered, "It is inside me, calling to the shadows." Rowan clenched his jaw, his voice cracking as he said, "Then we must fight it before it consumes you." Alaric lowered his head, voice heavy with sorrow. No blade can fight what was bound before time began. The toll of the bell grew louder, shaking branches from the trees. Rowan whispered, "It sounds like a heartbeat buried under stone." Alaric said, "It is older than this land, older than kings." Elara stepped closer to the door, her eyes reflecting the faint light within the cracks. She murmured, "It calls me by name." The forest floor cracked, roots splitting as though something beneath stirred. A low moan drifted from the earth, carrying despair with it. Rowan gripped his shield tighter, muttering, "This place should not exist." Alaric pressed a hand against his staff and said, "The curse has awakened its keeper, and once it rises, no silence will follow." From the trees, a figure shifted, a blade slipping from a hidden hand. Rowan turned sharply, shouting, "Who goes there?" But only shadows answered. Elara felt the mark on her wrist burn hotter, warning her of betrayal. Alaric muttered, "The forest hides many faces, not all are friends." The blade clattered to the ground, echoing too loudly in the silence. Rowan's grip tightened as he said, "Someone watches us." Elara whispered, "The curse knows no loyalty. Even allies may become enemies." The forest hushed, the wind dying as if listening. Alaric raised his staff, his voice like thunder, "Reveal yourself, or be swallowed by the curse you serve." The ground rumbled again as Alaric stepped before the others, his cloak whipping in the cold wind. He said, "The curse will not wait. Its hunger grows with every toll of the bell." Elara's voice cracked as she replied, "How can I fight something older than life itself?" Rowan said, "We stand with you, no matter the cost." Alaric's eyes softened for a moment, before hardening again. "Then you must be ready to sacrifice more than you can bear," he said, his voice carrying sorrow. The forest whispered back, leaves hissing like serpents. The door pulsed with light, each beat matching the pounding of Elara's heart. Elara sat on a moss-covered stone, the forest's silence pressing against her ears like a suffocating cloak. She whispered, "Every breath I take feels borrowed, and every day stretches into an endless chain." Rowan knelt beside her, his voice steady yet trembling. "You are not alone, Elara. I will carry your burden with you." Her eyes shimmered with pain as she replied, "But my burden consumes all who walk near me. The curse is a poison that feeds on love." Alaric stood nearby, his staff planted firmly in the soil, saying, "It is true. Immortality binds, it does not free. Yet within despair lies choice." The toll of the hidden bell echoed faintly again, its sound digging into her bones. Elara lowered her head and murmured, "What if I cannot survive this choice?" Rowan pressed his hand to his chest and said, "Then I will fall beside you before I ever abandon you." The wind eased as Elara walked through the ruins of a forgotten temple, moonlight spilling through shattered arches. Prince Dorian appeared from the shadows, his eyes catching hers like stolen fire. He said, "You should not wander alone, for eyes beyond mine already seek you." She whispered, "Your presence is danger enough, for our paths are not meant to cross." He stepped closer, lowering his voice, "Yet still, I find myself drawn to you, curse and all." Her heart thudded, and she turned her face away, murmuring, "If you look at me too long, you will fall into the darkness that binds me." Dorian smiled faintly, sadness laced in his tone. "Then let me fall, if falling means standing beside you." Their words hung between broken stones as the bell echoed once more. The night deepened, and Elara traced her fingers along a weathered carving in the temple wall. She whispered, "Here it began, the day I was bound to eternity." Rowan stood behind her, silent, until he asked, "You never told me how." She closed her eyes, recalling a voice like iron. "A fairy queen betrayed, marked me so that love would never outlast pain." Rowan clenched his fists, saying, "They cursed you for crimes not your own." Tears shimmered in her eyes as she said, "I watched kingdoms rise and crumble, but my chains never broke." Alaric's voice cut through the silence. "The past is carved in stone, but choice is carved in flesh. Do not mistake one for the other." Elara bowed her head, whispering, "Yet both leave scars that never fade." From the mist, a beast emerged, scales gleaming like liquid silver, eyes glowing with eternal sorrow. Elara stepped back, whispering, "The Guardian." The creature lowered its head, voice rumbling like thunder. "The curse is no longer chained. Its hunger will devour all unless the bearer bleeds by choice." Rowan raised his shield, stammering, "It speaks of sacrifice." Alaric bowed deeply, murmuring, "Its word is older than all kings. Listen well, for truth rarely comes twice." The Guardian's gaze fell on Elara, its voice like falling stone. "Love will not save you. It will cost you." Her knees weakened as she whispered, "Then my heart is already lost." The Guardian's form shimmered, its body fading back into mist. The mist thinned, and silence pressed heavy around them. Elara leaned against a broken pillar, her face pale, whispering, "The Guardian has sealed my fate. To break the curse, I must lose what I love." Rowan stepped before her, voice fierce, "Then I will be your shield until the end. You will not face this doom alone." Alaric's eyes glimmered with regret as he said, "Words of loyalty weigh more than steel, but loyalty has its own cost." Rowan turned sharply, his voice unshaken, "Then let it cost me everything, for I see worth in her that no curse can blind." Elara's voice cracked, "And if the curse devours you too?" Rowan stepped closer, laying his hand on her shoulder, whispering, "Then I will go willingly, for your life is worth mine." In a distant hall of obsidian stone, torches flickered as Malric rose from his throne, his eyes burning like coal. He snarled, "The cursed fairy still breathes, and her power weakens my dominion." Shadows coiled at his feet, whispering like snakes. A cloaked figure stepped forward, murmuring, "She walks with allies, but her curse bleeds through her veins." Malric's fist struck the arm of the throne, the crack echoing across the chamber. He said, "Then we shall hunt her, strip her of the hope she clings to." His soldiers knelt, their armor black as ash, waiting for his command. He leaned forward, his voice venomous, "Bring her to me alive, for her suffering is the key to my crown." Far from Malric's hall, Seraphine stood in the ruins, her cloak shimmering like liquid midnight. She smiled faintly as she said, "I can guide you through the shadows, Elara, if only you trust me." Elara studied her, unease written across her face. Rowan whispered, her words drip with honey, but her eyes hide something else. Alaric's voice was heavy with caution. "The paths she offers are ones paved in betrayal." Seraphine tilted her head, her tone like silk, "I seek no throne, only freedom from chains as you do." Elara's lips parted, whispering, "If you betray me, the curse will not forgive." Seraphine bowed, concealing her smirk. Betrayal, my dear, is simply another word for survival. The night air grew heavy, mist thickening as the group pressed deeper into the forest. Rowan muttered, "She twists words like a dagger, Elara. Do not trust her." Elara sighed, her voice cracking. "If I trust no one, I will walk alone into darkness." Alaric raised his staff, saying, "Loyalty is tested when fear is strongest. Choose carefully, for wrong choices bear scars." Seraphine laughed softly, her tone mocking, "Your doubts amuse me. Fear is a chain stronger than any curse." Rowan's jaw tightened as he said, "And chains can be broken, if one is willing to bleed." Elara closed her eyes, whispering, "But whose blood must fall, mine or yours?" The ruins of a once mighty fortress loomed before them, banners torn and stone blackened. Alaric said, "Here kings swore allegiance, but even oaths crumble under the weight of time." Elara brushed her hand against the broken wall, murmuring, "The world falls apart as if echoing my curse." Rowan kicked a fallen shield, muttering, "No vow lasts when greed whispers louder." Seraphine smiled coldly, "Pacts are fragile lies dressed as promises." Alaric's face darkened. "A shattered pact breeds war, and war breeds despair." The distant rumble of marching echoed through the valley, and Elara whispered, "Then despair is already here." The sky split with crimson light as the blood moon climbed, staining the land in red. Elara gasped, "It awakens something inside me, something I cannot control." Her mark blazed, silver flames coursing across her arm. Rowan reached for her, shouting, "Fight it, Elara, do not let it take you." Alaric struck his staff into the ground, voice trembling. "The blood moon strengthens curses, it binds them tighter." Seraphine's eyes gleamed as she whispered, "Or perhaps it frees them, if one dares embrace the darkness." Elara fell to her knees, her scream shattering the silence, the shadows rushing toward her like a storm. The blood moon's glow seared the forest, its light sinking into Elara's veins. She staggered back, screaming as silver fire spread across her skin. Alaric whispered in dread, "Her curse is not bound to her alone. It steals from the living." Rowan gasped as his strength faltered, his breath quickening. "Elara, you're draining me." Her eyes widened in horror. "No, I never meant." The bell tolled, louder now as shadows tightened around them. Alaric pressed his staff into the earth, his voice breaking. "The truth is revealed. Your immortality is carved from the lifeblood of those who love you." Elara collapsed to her knees, sobbing, "Then, I am a monster born of love itself." The forest parted as Dorian appeared, his sword drawn, his face stricken with guilt. Elara's voice cracked, "You knew, didn't you?" He lowered his blade, whispering, "I knew the curse feeds on love, and still I loved you." Her tears shimmered as she shouted, "You lied, even as you watched me bleed them dry." Rowan turned sharply, fury burning. "He let you suffer while the truth rotted inside him." Dorian's voice wavered, "I thought I could bear the cost alone, but love cannot be hidden from curses." Elara's scream pierced the night. "Then you betrayed me, not with blade, but with silence." Dorian dropped his sword, the clang echoing like a final heartbeat. The tension broke as Alari's staff dimmed, his shoulders sagging. He said, "I must confess a truth I buried in shadows." Elara looked up, her voice trembling. "What more could you hide from me?" He turned away, shame pressing heavy in his tone. "I was there when the Fairy Queen cast her curse. I failed to stop her." Rowan stepped forward, shocked. "You knew this curse from the beginning." Alaric's eyes closed, his voice breaking. "I thought by guiding you, I could undo the sin of my silence." Elara's tears burned like fire as she said, "Then you are no different from Dorian, keeping truth from me until the world burned." His face hollowed as he whispered, "My failure is older than your pain, but it binds us still." Seraphine's laugh rang through the ruins, sharp as broken glass. She stepped from the shadows, eyes alight with hunger. "Secrets tear you apart faster than any blade. And now you will see why I guided you here." Elara's voice shook, "You used me." Seraphine smirked, I guided you to the blood moon so its power might break your chains, but chains never break without leaving scars. Rowan growled. You never meant to help her. Seraphine's emerald eyes gleamed. I meant to help myself. The curse binds me too, and your blood is the key to my freedom. Alaric roared, striking his staff down. You dare betray her now when her heart is bleeding. Seraphine's cloak billowed, her smile sharp as steel. The ground split open, ancient runes blazing with silver fire. A voice not of man nor beast roared through the night. Only sacrifice shall sever the chains of eternity. Elara clutched her chest, gasping. It demands my life or the life of one I love. Rowan shouted. Then take mine, better me than her. Dorian staggered forward, his voice breaking. Or mine, for I betrayed her heart. Alaric trembled, whispering, No, the prophecy is cruel. It demands not choice but loss. Elara's body shook as she screamed, How can I choose who must fall? The voice echoed again, cold as death. Without loss, no freedom. Without pain, no end. The silver fire dimmed, leaving ash and silence. Rowan sank to his knees, voice raw. I am no prince, no mage, only a soldier with a shield. How can I save you? Elara placed a trembling hand on his shoulder, whispering, Your heart shields me when steel cannot. He shook his head, eyes wet. But what if my heart is not enough? Alaric's tone softened. Strength is not measured in crowns or spells, but in the will to stand when all else falls. Rowan looked up, fire flickering in his gaze. Then I will stand, even if the curse swallows me whole. Elara closed her eyes, her voice breaking. And I will weep for every wound it carves into you. The night trembled with the sound of drums. From the valley below, Malric's armies surged forward, their armor black as soot, their banners stained with blood. Elara gasped. He marches for us. Alaric gripped his staff, muttering, The dark court has woken its wrath. Rowan's jaw tightened. Then let them come. I'll hold them till my last breath. Elara's mark flared, burning against her skin, as she whispered, The curse hungers, and it feeds on war. Dorian, sword in hand, approached with grim resolve. Then we will give it battle before it devours us. The drums grew louder, echoing like 1,000 heartbeats of doom. As the drums echoed, Dorian turned to Elara, desperation in his eyes. If this is our last night, let it not end with silence. She shook her head, voice trembling. Your love will only feed my curse. He stepped closer, whispering, Then let it feed. I would rather die in your arms than live in regret. Rowan looked away, jaw clenched as Alaric sighed heavily. Fools find fire even when drowning in storms. Elara's tears glimmered, and before she could resist, Dorian pressed his lips to hers. The air trembled, her mark blazing as though awakened by the kiss. She gasped, pulling away, whispering, Your love burns me, yet I cannot let it go. The ground shook as Malric's forces clashed with theirs, steel ringing in chaos. Alaric struck down enemies with blazing staff, his voice echoing with ancient power. But shadows wrapped around him, binding his arms like chains. Elara screamed. Alaric! Rowan charged forward, hacking at the shadows, but the tide was too strong. Alaric's voice thundered, Do not waste your lives on me. His staff flared once more, light bursting across the battlefield, hurling soldiers aside. Elara wept as she cried, We need you still. He turned to her, eyes softening. You need strength, not me. The shadows surged again, dragging him into darkness, his scream echoing as the staff fell silent. As the battlefield quieted, mist coiled again, and the silver-scaled guardian emerged, its glowing eyes filled with sorrow. Its voice rumbled. One thread has been cut, yet the tapestry unravels still. Elara sobbed. Alaric is gone. His sacrifice was not enough. The guardian lowered its massive head, replying, The curse demands blood, not wisdom. More must be lost before chains can break. Rowan clenched his fists, shouting, Then take me, spare her. The guardian's gaze pierced him, whispering, Not yet. The choice is hers to make. Elara trembled, her voice cracking. How many must fall before I am free? The guardian's answer was silence, its form fading into mist once more. The battlefield smoldered as shadows parted to reveal Seraphine at Malric's side, her cloak snapping in the storm wind. Elara gasped, "You fight with him?" Seraphine's smile was sharp as a blade. "I fight for myself. Malric offers freedom, while you offer chains." Rowan snarled, "You twist truth like poison." Malric's laughter echoed, cold and cruel. "She understands what you do not. Power bends to those who seize it." Dorian stepped forward, sword raised. "Then you will find your power breaks upon love." Malric's eyes flared. "Love is weakness, and it will be your undoing." Elara's mark blazed, pain carving through her chest as the armies clashed anew. The sky bled crimson as Malric's army surged. Rowan charged, shield crashing into dark soldiers, shouting, "Stand with me!" Dorian clashed steel against steel, sparks leaping in the storm. Elara's voice broke as her mark flared. "The curse feeds on every wound spilled." Seraphine circled her like a serpent, whispering, "Let it consume them. Only then will it break." Alaric's absence pressed like a wound, his missing staff leaving them weaker. Malric's roar thundered, "Your end is written!" Elara screamed, silver fire bursting from her hands, striking both enemy and ally alike. Rowan shouted, "Elara, fight it! Fight yourself!" The tide shifted as Malric's blade struck toward Elara. Rowan leapt before her, shield shattering under the force. Elara screamed, "No!" His chest burned with blood, yet his eyes remained fierce. "You are worth more than my life," he gasped. Dorian slashed desperately to push enemies back, crying, "Rowan, hold on!" Seraphine smirked. "One falls, and the curse still binds her." Rowan coughed, blood staining his lips, whispering to Elara, "Do not waste my death. Break it, even if it costs everything." Elara's sob tore through the storm as his body collapsed, shield broken, his loyalty etched in silence. The battlefield froze as Elara's mark exploded, silver flames spiraling skyward. The curse's voice filled the air, ancient and merciless. "Choose. Blood or eternity." Dorian fell to his knees, shouting, "Take me. End this through me." Seraphine hissed, "Take no choice, Elara. Embrace the curse and rule eternal." Malric raised his sword, laughing, "She will break, as all do." Elara's scream cut through them, "I will not be your pawn." Her body shook violently as she fought, the chains tightening within her soul. The ground cracked, glowing runes spreading, demanding an answer. She whispered, "I must face it, or all is lost." Elara stepped into the circle of runes, silver fire crawling across her body like chains. She cried, "If freedom demands loss, then let my love bear it." Dorian staggered forward, shouting, "No, do not take it from yourself." Malric sneered, "Her sacrifice feeds only death." Seraphine shrieked, "Give in, and you will be mine." Elara's scream shattered the sky as silver fire engulfed Malric, his armor melting as his roar faded. Seraphine was thrown back, cloak torn, her smirk erased. Dorian collapsed, clutching her hand, whispering, "You saved us, but at what cost?" Her eyes dimmed, silver chains falling like ash as silence swallowed the battlefield. The storm passed, leaving silence broken only by crackling embers. Elara stood trembling in the ruins, silver ash drifting from her gown. Dorian whispered, "The war is over, yet victory tastes of grief." Rowan's broken shield lay abandoned in the mud, his absence cutting deeper than wounds. Elara closed her eyes, whispering, "His sacrifice saved me, but it cost more than I can bear." The guardian's voice echoed faintly, "Threads are severed, but the tapestry endures." Dorian placed a hand on her shoulder, voice shaking, "We live, but do we call this living?" Elara whispered back, "We endure, but my soul is burned hollow." At dawn, survivors carried the wounded through ruined gates, their faces gray with sorrow. Dorian led them, his sword dragging, his eyes hollow. He said, A crown cannot mend hearts broken by war. Elara walked beside him, pale as moonlight, whispering, "The curse is gone, but grief chains me tighter than magic." Bells tolled across the kingdom, not in triumph but in mourning. Children wept for fathers, mothers wailed for sons. Dorian looked to Elara, voice breaking, "The people see us as victors, yet all I see are graves." Elara whispered, "Then victory is only another word for loss." Mist coiled once more as the guardian appeared, its silver eyes dim with sorrow. Elara whispered, "You return, though all is ended." The beast's voice rumbled. "Ended? No, threads are cut, but the loom still spins." Dorian asked, "Then is peace ours?" The guardian lowered its head, replying, "Peace is fleeting. Balance holds only until men tip it again." Elara's hands shook as she said, "You speak as though war is eternal." The guardian's form flickered, fading into the mist. "Eternal is suffering, yet eternal too is hope. Protect what remains." Its voice faded, leaving only silence. Elara bowed her head, whispering, "Hope feels heavier than chains." That evening, torches burned in the square, voices raised in song for Rowan. His broken shield lay upon an altar, crowned with flowers. Elara stood before it, tears streaking her cheeks. He was no king, no prince, yet his loyalty was worth kingdoms. Dorian placed a hand upon the shield, whispering, "Songs will fade, but his courage will not." The people wept, their voices trembling in grief. Elara raised her hand, her voice shaking, "Remember him, for he gave his life that I might break chains older than time." The crowd bowed their heads, their silence a prayer carried into the night. When dawn broke again, Elara walked alone to the edge of the cliffs. The sea below roared, golden light spilling across endless waves. She whispered, "The curse is broken, but freedom tastes like ash." Dorian called from behind, "Stay, and rebuild with me." She turned, eyes filled with sorrow, and shook her head. "I cannot rebuild what is shattered within." He reached for her, but she stepped into the sunlight, her gown glowing like fire. "I walk into dawn not as fairy nor cursed, but as ash upon the wind." The sea roared louder as she vanished into the horizon, leaving silence and the memory of sacrifice.